People in the Fever were like, y'all.
That's not my point. There's a lot of other going on that players are like, this ain't where I want to be.
Over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some new shit going on around there.
It's a lot. So you have players that are very significant on this Indiana Fever team that are like, I
don't want to be here.
Remember when Sheryl Swoopes took the stage and called out the Indiana Fever with her "Nobody wants to play for Indiana" tour? She painted the team as a disaster, claiming free agents were steering clear due to locker room issues and bad vibes. It was a bold statement, but one that didn't exactly age well.
What kind of things do you feel?
I'm not in the locker room.
Okay.
I'm talking about more social media.
Okay. It's a turn. Right? It's a turn, right? It's really a turn of the tides.
Well,
right?
Phil, here's my point. The beginning of the year, right? Everybody.
Fast forward to today, and Indiana just fired back in a big way, dominating free agency and proving the doubters wrong. That fan in the Fever jersey, yep, it's Sue Bird. But before we break down her impressive move, let's take a moment to lightly roast Swoopes' take and give it the response it truly deserves.
They do, peeps. Sheryl Swoopes is been missing. Sheryl Swoopes is MIA. They got a APB out for Sheryl Swoopes. If you see Sheryl Swoopes, she did a lot of talking a few months ago about the Indiana Fever, the locker room environment, how people didn't want to play there, how people wanted to leave.
This wasn't just a casual hot take from a rookie podcaster. There was a Hall of Famer going all in to tear down Indiana's reputation. Swoopes didn't hold back, claiming the Fever was a place where talent went to fade away. She called the locker room a mess and insisted no real star would ever willingly choose to play there. She even went so far as to say Caitlin Clark was stepping straight into basketball purgatory.
That takes us to Indiana, which I think everyone agrees right now has gone from, a team that made the playoffs last year, lost in the first round. They were building all these young pieces, of course, Caitlin Clark, to now an immediate contender with all the moves.
It turns out, Indiana is now the place everyone wants to be. Free agents aren't avoiding them. They're rushing to join the Caitlin Clark experience. And who saw this coming? Sue Bird. When Sue talks, the entire league listens.
I think Natasha Howard certainly stands out. I loved playing with Tosh.
You cannot say enough.
I cannot say enough about Tosh. I really enjoyed playing with her. I think she really is she's just this glue player that doesn't get enough shine for what she does, because a lot of what she does doesn't show up in the box score, but she just is like always in the right place at the right time. And a player like that, I think, complements what Indiana is building.
Sue Bird isn't someone who hands out empty praise or chases headlines. She's a 4-time WNBA champion, 5-time Olympic gold medalist, and one of the sharpest minds in women's basketball. When she speaks, it's not just an opinion, it's a blueprint for success.
So Sue Bird is one of the greatest point guards of all time in the WNBA. And she's someone who obviously is a part owner in the Seattle Storm. So hyping up another team is a bit of a conflict of interest, if we're being honest.
Let's be clear. Sue didn't jump on the Fever hype train waving pom-poms. Instead, she did what any seasoned legend would. She told everyone to pump the brakes on the title talk. That's classic Sue. She calmly reminded everyone that championships aren't won through Twitter debates or highlight reels of deep threes.
Obviously, through trade, added Sophie Cunningham, a player that, I would say a 3-and-D type player who has, been to the finals, so has that playoff experience. She's also just tough. She's mentally tough. She's physically tough. She brings an edge to them. And then last but not least, they added DeWanna Bonner, which really I think is the one that, for most people, took it to another level. So now you're like, oh, they're a contender.
Indiana clearly made some key moves, starting with the addition of Sophie Cunningham, a tough, battle-tested 3-and-D player with finals experience. She brings grit, mental toughness, and a real edge to the team. Then came DeWanna Bonner, a move that, for many, officially pushed Indiana into contender territory. But if you really listened to Sue Bird, you'd realize she wasn't throwing shade. She was giving a heads-up. Beneath her calm tone, the message was clear. Indiana is building something special. And it's not just the Caitlin Clark highlight show, though, let's be real, Clark is out here making defenders look silly and tossing dimes like she's allergic to turnovers. Sue sees the blueprint.
The biggest part of DB joining this team is that she's already played for Steph. So I think that's going to help bridge the gap, because as we go along, we're going to talk about Vegas and Seattle, Atlanta. It's really going to be which
Stephanie
team.
White being the head coach.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Thank you.
Was the head coach of Connecticut, now the head coach of Indiana.
Yeah. So it's really going to be the team that finds their chemistry. This season is short. I mean, they're adding games, but it's still pretty short
Still
season.
short, yeah, still short.
And it's
Still
going to be
just
the
the summer.
team that finds chemistry. So having Stephanie White there, having already coached DB, really does help.
Aliyah Boston is owning the paint like it's her personal fortress. Kelsey Mitchell is finally getting the recognition she's earned after grinding through the tough years. Lexi Hull is bringing that relentless, all-around energy every contender needs. And now, veterans are eyeing Indiana like it's 2016 free agency all over again. This is exactly what Sheryl Swoopes didn't see coming. Caitlin Clark didn't just change the narrative, she completely rewrote the playbook.
Kelsey Mitchell's balling, Caitlin continuing to impress, and she's going to break records nonstop for the next couple of years. Yeah. It's just going to be a constant.
This isn't the Indiana Fever team people used to overlook. Now, they're the team everyone can't stop watching. Ticket sales are skyrocketing, and jerseys are flying off the shelves faster than Angel Reese can make a headline. National networks are practically battling for the rights to air Fever games. Players across the league are eager to join the movement, knowing that playing alongside Caitlin Clark means primetime TV, playoff excitement, and a chance to be part of something legendary. Sue Bird understands this. She's been that player, the one who attracts stars and lays the foundation for a dynasty. She sees in Clark and this young Fever core the blueprint for something special. This is how greatness starts. With a generational rookie, a strong foundation, and veterans ready to ride the wave.
Something about the way she plays the game, her passing, her shooting, that people really identify with. So I really feel like we're poised and we're set up for a great, successful next era of Fever basketball.
While Sue Bird is out here calmly plotting the Fever's rise like a seasoned general, Sheryl Swoopes is watching her credibility fade faster than her predictions are getting proven wrong. The Fever aren't a cautionary tale anymore. They're the future. And if the rest of the league doesn't wake up soon, they'll be stuck repeating last season's cold takes while Indiana is out there lifting trophies. Next voice. 3 WNBA MVPs in your career. Would you call each of those seasons dominant? Nah, I can't, bro. Sheryl Swoopes is willing to downplay her own greatness before she admits Caitlin Clark is dominant.
3 WNBA MVPs in your career. Would you consider each of those 3 seasons as dominant seasons for yourself?
No.
I can't, bro. Sheryl Swoopes is willing to lie about her own career before she even admits that Caitlin is done.
About the experience, the champions that have been added to this point.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what everybody talked about when we were in the playoffs last year of, we really didn't have much experience at all playing in playoff games. I don't know what the exact number was, but we really lacked in that area. So just adding pieces of, players that have been in this league, they know what it takes to win. They know what it takes to get to the finals. They know what it takes to win championships. I think it's exactly what we needed in our locker room. So it's just exciting, but also they're not only really good basketball players, they're really great leaders and really great people. And I know the front office obviously really prioritized that and looking for the pieces that we wanted to add. So really thankful for that.
Colson is joining the Indiana Fever. What does that mean? Indiana is just being so greedy right now. They took DB, they took Natasha. Now they got Sydney Colson. Why would they take Sydney?
I think Caitlin Clark is at that ascension point where she's going to be top of the MVP race. We're going to talk about her in terms of stat leaders later, but the way that the Indiana Fever just made a statement around Caitlin Clark and said, hey, we're pushing in the chips. We're ready to win now. And DeWanna Bonner's obviously, the face of the new pieces that have come in. So obviously that's going to be the biggest needle mover in what Drew said. The market has obviously...
The future is so bright, and our ultimate goal is to hang another banner in the field house. And our ultimate goal is to come back in here after we win that championship and celebrate again like we did in 2012.
I think the biggest needle moving free agent signing, which was also one of the more surprising moves for me, DeWanna Bonner to the Fever. That was one of the first dominoes that fell, in this offseason. Look at the sort of the trend or theme of the Fever offseason, in my opinion, has been adding experience. And DeWanna Bonner has that. She's got a ton of playoff experience. She's obviously somebody who can score. She adds a lot to the defensive end because she's very mobile and she has a lot of length. So I think that's going to help them